Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. I'm already at the yard because today I'm going to show you how I brush my horses. Now, I know it seems like a really simple video, but a lot of people have been asking and searching how you brush a horse, what things to use and stuff like that. So the girls are in, Happy's there, Holly's there, and I'm going to show you how I keep my brushes and what brushes I have to start. So this area is a little bit messy and not as clean as it usually would be because we're currently doing a little project and you shall see that very shortly. But I basically have a set of drawers where I keep my brushes. I've got two different drawers for the two different horses, and you'll notice that they have the same face brush because I think I got this brush set twice. But Holly's purple and Happy's blue, so I tend to keep them separately, but it is what it is. So when you buy brushes, you either buy them individually or you buy them as a set, which, like I said, this is from a set. And I think these were from a set too, but I've just lost the bags over time because I'll usually put everything in one. And now that we're here and they've got their own separate drawers and we're getting really organised, they're all separate. They both have the same sort of brushes. They've got dandy brushes, they've got body brushes, hoof picks, things like that. One of the things that I do like to keep, which aren't in normal grooming bags though, is a magic brush. This is a magic brush. It's absolutely filthy at the minute. Like I said, we're doing a little project, so there's lots of dust and things like that about. So they could do with a really good clean. But yeah, a magic brush just kind of helps get all of the dirt off, and these bristles sort of really help get into the dirt and things like that. So they're really good. I'm going to do Holly because Holly's filthy and Happy isn't. So I'm going to get Holly's brushes out and then talk you through them and then show you how I use them. I've just pulled my drawer out so that you guys can see better. And as you can see, I've got a variety of different brushes. So I think to start, I'll tell you what the brushes are called because each brush has a name or a type and they do a different job. So usually when you're brushing, the first thing you'd go for is a dandy brush, which is this. Now I say this is what you go for first, but it all depends on your horse. So I don't tend to use a dandy brush on a Happy because she's got really fine hair. So these bristles are a little bit too hard for her. But Holly's got a lot thicker coat and she's always filthy. So this is my go-to brush with Holly. Now, after I've used the dandy brush, I will go in with the body brush. Now, this is what I use on Happy all the time, and it's got soft bristles. I don't know if you guys can see, so in fact, I'll show you the difference. So the dandy brush has got longer and harder bristles, whereas the body brush is softer and shorter. So they're the two brushes that are kind of the normal main go-to ones. Then you have a face brush, which is very similar to a body brush, but it's kind of shaped differently and it's smaller, which is great for getting on the horse's face. And then you've got two types of brushes for their mane and tail. This is what you always used to get. And now you kind of get ones that are like a hairbrush. I personally prefer the ones that are more like a hairbrush just because it's easier to use when you're actually brushing through the mane and tail. But the other ones, they work, so yeah. And then you have a sweat scraper. This isn't an everyday use kind of item. That's more when you're washing and it's to get the sweat and the water off. And then, last but not least, in Holly's is a hoof pick. Now, I personally prefer the ones with the brushes on because, as you can imagine, sometimes there's just a bit of dirt that doesn't really warrant a hoof pick, or you get a bit that's a little bit dusty and it's just easier to brush it off as well. So that is what's in my kit for Holly. And as you'll have noticed on some of my other videos, I've got some sprays too. So I'll quickly grab them and show you what they are and what they're used for. I've talked about both of these products before, but I've got the NAF No Shine and the High Detangler and Silky Smooth. What's it called? It's just called a detangler. I personally prefer the NAF one better, but they both work just as good. And it's to, one, make the coat a little bit shiny when it's a bit dull, but the main reason why I use these sprays are as detanglers. So as you can imagine, your hair gets pretty knotty, and so does a horse's. So by using the sprays, it helps keep it silky and smooth, but it also helps get rid of all of those tough knots. because as you can imagine, horses still have nerve endings, and whilst they don't feel things as sensitively as we do, in certain aspects, they're still quite sensitive, and I'm a real softie when it comes to my horses, so they always get pampered and treated like princesses. So yeah, that's what's in my grooming kit for Holly, and now I'll go get her and show you how I use them. So like I said a minute ago, I'm going to use the dandy brush to start with because she's got a couple of muddy patches and some weisters. How lovely of you, Holly. So all I'm doing is just brushing along. I tend to go in the direction of the hair. So around here it goes out like that. So I will go in with it. And you can see, because this has got harder, thicker bristles, it's helping really get the dirt off. And if you kind of want to use a bit of extra force, you can grab both your hands on it and sort of brush towards you. Now when I brush, I sort of flick up like that. And again, that's just one way to help get all of the dirt and grime off. When you're using multiple brushes, it doesn't matter if you kind of do it quickly, because if you want the nice smooth coat, you will get that when you go with the body brush. So dandy brush is kind of like the prime. I also use this on their legs. I don't tend to use the body brush on their legs. So, for example, the back of the knee, using this is a great way to get the tough bits off there. And underneath the neck. So Holly's mane grows on the wrong side. So I just flick it over and get underneath the neck. And I'd be pretty much done with that for the dandy brush. And now I've swapped to the body brush, so it's got softer bristles, which will help bring out the shine. And again, just do it to the direction of the hair. Now, I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick this up, but hopefully you can see she looks shinier and cleaner now. Now, a good tip, if you can remember, is brush the mane before you do the body, because you're always going to get some dirt fall out, or at least I do from her because she's always filming. Like I just mentioned, her mane grows on the wrong side. So, usually the mane would be that way, but it's this way. And just because sometimes her mane is really knotty, I put my hand on top and brush down. I don't tend to use the spray on the mane because it's never knotty enough, but I always use spray on the tail when I'm doing it. And then brush off the dust caused from brushing the mane. Now for my tail, I'm grabbing my spray and just spritzing it in between the layers of hair and all the way down to the bottom. And then what I do is I section it, so if I get her to move her bum over, good girl, and stand. So I brush the top bit, and then I put my nail as a divider to section some off, and then just go and brush down. And again, I use my hands to soften the blow to her, so she don't feel it as much because it'll be pulling, because it's a bit knotty. Now, if you're wondering why Holly's tail looks a bit weird up at the top, it's because one, she's been rubbing it, and two, I pulled it about 2.5 weeks ago for a show. So it's kind of growing back out now, so it looks a little bit silly. And now Holly has a silky smooth and knot-free tail. So I'm hoping you're going to be able to see a little bit of a difference if I just move a bum over. So this side is the side we've brushed. Obviously we've not done her face yet, but we've done her mane, her body and her tail. And compare that to this side, which we haven't done. You can see it's a bit grimy. Oh, grumpy Holly. Hello. You can see her coat's still shiny, but it's really dusty and grimy. But this side, the side we've just done, looks a lot cleaner. So we're going to do her head, and then I will go across and do the other side. Now, to do her head, what we're going to do is brush her forelock and then grab the face brush and just like you would use the body brush, you're going to go in the direction of their hair and be careful over the eyes and just do the side of the face. So Holly has a double whirl, which means on her head, she's kind of got two little patterns, change of direction of hair. So you've got to just make sure they're still going the right ways. Brush down the side behind her ears. Again, don't be afraid to press a little bit hard. It's not going to hurt them. Behind your ears. And there we go, that's the face. So I'm gonna go and quickly do the other side, but one thing that I would normally do, which I haven't done today, is I would use one brush, finish both sides, and then swap to the other brush. You're a good girl. But yeah, because I'm showing you the difference between side to side, I've not done that, but usually that's just a bit easier. As you can imagine, brushes often get dirty from the horses, so one thing that I do is I'll use this and just scrape it down with brushes to clean it. Or you can soak them in soap and water, but that takes a while for them to dry out and things like that, so I wouldn't do that all of the time, but this is a great in-between. And then to finish, I clean the horse's feet out. And to do that, all you do, pick up the horse's feet. So you've probably noticed I've switched horses. This is Happy. Some of the liveries that came in, and I felt a little bit awkward filming whilst they were messing around. So switched horses, but I'll finish off what I was doing. So to finish, I always pick out their feet and then put a moisturiser on. So you'd go around in like a square. So you can just do it in any order, but it's kind of like the unwritten rule. You go front leg, back leg, front leg. So that's what I'm going to do. And I just pick up the leg, and then I put my left hand underneath the foot with the hoof pick in my right, and I always put it so it's going down like that. And you start at the very top of the frog and work your way down. Happy's been out all night, so the mud's kind of a little bit hardened into her feet. So it takes a little bit of extra elbow grease, but nothing major. And then brush it out. Do the same on this leg. Now with the back legs, I also tend to rest them into my thigh just for a little bit of extra support. And then last but not least, I go in with some hoof balm. So this one is a moisturiser. Because they've been out, the feet are a little bit dry. So I just unscrew the lid, just a little black sort of grease kind of looking thing. Swipe the brush round, good girl, and paint it on. Doesn't have to be very neat. We have a come groom with me complete. So as you can see, Happy and Holly are looking all nice and clean. So I'm going to end the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed watching and maybe learned something. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe down below. I will also leave the links to my Instagram if you guys wanted to check out some of my horsey pictures lately, or just follow my feed in general. So yeah, I shall see you next time. Bye!